Hey guys, it's Mrs. Richards, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to do fraction subtraction with regrouping. Let's take, for instance, the problem 4 1/8 minus 1 1/2. So the first thing that we notice here is that I have unlike denominators. The denominator in 1/8 is an 8, and my denominator in 1/2 is a 2. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to change these fractions so that they have like denominators. So I'm going to look for the least common denominator. And when I look at these two numbers, I know that the least common denominator is 8. Because when I skip count by both of those numbers, the first number that appears in both lists is 8. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to change both of these to fractions that have 8 as a denominator. Well, 1/8 is going to stay the same. And then I'm going to ask myself, 2 times what gives me 8? And I know that that is 4. And because of the identity property, I can multiply my numerator by 4 and get 4. Now, I'm ready to go ahead and subtract these two fractions, 1/8 minus 1/8 minus 4/8. Well, I know that I am not able to do that because I cannot do 1 minus 4. So here's where things get a little bit tricky. Just like regular subtraction, I can also regroup when I am subtracting fractions. So I am going to take 1 whole away from my 4, which leaves me with 3 wholes. I am going to trade that 1 whole for 8/8. Well, when I look over here, I already have 1/8. So I'm going to add that 1/8 plus 8/8 to give me 9/8. Now let's take a look again at what I just did. I knew that I could not do 1/8 minus 4/8. So I did some regrouping and renaming from my 4. I took 1 whole away, which gave me 3, and I renamed that 1 whole as 8/8, and I added it to my 1/8 to give me 9/8. Now I'm ready to subtract. My 4/8 over here is going to stay exactly the same. I'm going to do 9/8 minus 4/8, which gives me 5/8. And of course, I don't want to forget about my whole numbers over here. I also need to do 3 minus 1, which will give me 2. And when I look at my fraction 5/8, I see that it is in lowest terms because the only number that I can divide both 5 and 8 by is 1, which means that 2 5/8 is my solution. Let's look at another example using the same strategy. Let's look at 4 1/2 minus 2 2/3. Again, the first thing I want to notice here is that I have unlike denominators. So what I need to do is I need to figure out what the least common denominator is. And my least common denominator for 2 and 3 is 6. So I'm going to change both of my fractions to equivalent fractions that have 6 as the denominator. So I think to myself, 2 times 3 gives me 6. So I'm going to multiply 1 times 3 to give me 3. And then here, 3 times 2 gives me 6. So I'm going to do 2 times 2, which gives me 4. So what I've done here is I have renamed these as equivalent fractions. So I have 3/6 minus 4/6. Well, I'm unable to do that. So I need to do some regrouping and renaming. So I'm going to take 1 whole from my 4, which leaves me with 3. I'm going to rename that 1 whole as 6/6. I already have 3/6 over here, so what I need to do is add my 6/6 from my renamed whole to my 3/6, and that gives me 9/6. My 4/6 can stay exactly the same. And now I'm ready to subtract. 9/6 minus 4/6 gives me 5/6. And then I come over to my whole numbers and I do 3 minus 2, which gives me 1. I then take a look at my fraction to make sure that it is in lowest terms. And when I look at 5/6, I see that the only thing I can divide both my numerator and my denominator by is 1. So my fraction is in lowest terms, 1 and 5/6. I hope this helps.